right, it is time for June TBR and reading plans. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. This is going to be my June TBR and some reading plans. Some of these are going to be specific titles that I am reading for specific reasons, but I also have some more general reading plans, which I'll get to in a second. But yeah, so this it's kind of funny. I haven't done a regular monthly TBR for quite some time. Wow, maybe last September? Oh gosh, it might have even been further behind that. No wonder I feel rusty. I am rusty. Because in May I did the currently reading challenge, so I had monthly TBRs or weekly TBRs, and then earlier in the year I did my TBR jars, and then last year I did the currently reading challenge. So it really is, I think last September would have been, and I don't even know if I did one then. I don't even know. Anyway, how I am going to share the TBR is I've split things into categories. So I have some social reads, I have some series that I am working on, I have one completely random pick, and I also do have some titles from my currently reading that I plan on working on. But I also have something exciting this month that I am going to be getting back to, because it is getting back to the warmer months and the summer months, which means it's time to go back to the library. I'm super excited. I only go to the library in the summer, and I actually kind of feel like now it's like a bit of a reward for after doing the May reading challenge, which clears off a lot of the titles that I'm working on and frees up space. But also with reading from the library, you have to finish it before you don't have to finish it. One of these titles I started last year at the library and I didn't finish, so that is not true. But highly encouraged, self-encouraged to finish it before returning it. Anyway, so that is that's my reading plans for the month, is going back to getting to the library. I did already go. I did have one spontaneous visit, so I already have some library books out, which is super exciting. But usually I go and usually I place holds and pick up my holds and get specific titles, but the trip I've done so far was just like totally spontaneous, and I just like picked up as much as I could carry. So it was very exciting. So yeah, and it does feel kind of nice. I'm not so much of a reward-based person, but in terms of challenges, like honestly, I'm very accomplishment-oriented, so I don't need a reward. But going to the library after doing the May reading challenge just feels like a nice rhythm of things. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be reading from the library this year. I have many books that I've saved and many books that I put on inactive hold, but the one that I know that I really want to get to is Blade of the Immortal, which is a series that I have been reading for several years. It's a manga series, and I only have 4 or 5 volumes left. I really thought I was going to be able to finish it last year, but I just wasn't able to get one particular volume in time to do it. So hopefully this year is the year. Fingers crossed, that is the first on the list. That's the first hold that I'm going to release and hope that it comes in. We shall see if that happens, but that's going to be the first one. So I'm not quite sure exactly what else I'm going to be getting from the library, but that is definitely going to be there. That's not true. One of my buddy reads I am planning on getting from the library, so let's talk about that one. So I have 2 buddy reads planned this month. I am continuing to read the Dark Hunter series with Anita from Anita Reads, and the next one we are going to be reading is Sword of Darkness by Kinley MacGregor. So this is the first in the Lords of Avalon series. It's sort of like they have, the thing with the Dark Hunters is there are sort of like series within series, and so this is an Arthurian series. I think it's a historical Arthurian. I think at least this one and the next one are both historical. I actually really thought Kinley MacGregor was a pseudonym for Sherilyn Kenyon, but then I noticed on this one it actually has a quote from Sherilyn Kenyon on the front that says Kinley MacGregor writes fantasy the way I would. And I'm like, I guess it isn't. I guess they are different people. I just assumed that it was, because some, especially romance writers, often have different names for the different genres, like if they write paranormal versus contemporary versus suspense versus like cozy mysteries versus historicals, like, and so I just assumed that's what was going on. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Anyway, I'm really excited about this. I love Arthurian works, and I am looking forward to checking this one out. So I will be reading that one with Anita, and I'm going to be getting that one from the library as well. I'm also going to be continuing to read the series of Unfortunate Events with Izzy and Kelly. So we are reading the next 2 books in the series. So that is book 7, The Vile Village, and book 8, The Hostile Hospital. This is one of my favorite covers ever. Like, not even just a series of Unfortunate Events, but just ever. I just love it. And The Hostile Hospital is also the first one I ever listened to on audiobook, and it's narrated by Tim Curry, and it is particularly wonderful. And there's it is really good. So I always mean to I only listen to audiobook for fiction if I'm rereading it, and that's how I ended up reading this one. I think when me and Izzy read them the first time, I finished it pretty early, so I also listened to the audiobook. I think that's how that happened. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to reading these. They are rereads for me, and I'm really enjoying doing this buddy read with Izzy and Kelly. The live show will be on Izzy's channel on the end of the month. I will leave the date down below, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So those are the social reading that I'm going to be doing this month, and I am looking forward to it. What else do we have? So I have some series that I'm going to be working on. And in terms of social reading, last month I really did enjoy reading the titles for Dai's from Diasis 19's Monochrome Manga Club, but unfortunately both of the titles for this upcoming month I can't get from either Overdrive or my public library. Neither has them. They are both ones that can be work for the Manga Pride read-along or readathon that Bizarre Individual is doing. So I'll leave links to Dai's announcement video as well as Bizarre Individual's Manga Pride announcement video if you are looking for some manga to enjoy, especially some Pride manga to enjoy. I think I might try and get a Tropical Fish Yearns for Snow. It's a Yuri title that I read earlier this year, but Overdrive only had the first copy, but my physical library has more copies, so I might try and read that in the month of June. I think I pulled up a picture for that one as well. It was really quite sweet. Yeah. And so I read it for my A to Z manga reading for the letter T. It's very cute. Very cute. So that's hopefully, well, I guess I'm going to put that on hold too. But I want to get Blade of the Immortal first. So hopefully I will get it in for June. We shall see. We shall see. So that is some social and social-ish reading I plan on doing, because actually if I read that in June, that would work for the Manga Pride readathon, so that would be good. So okay, on to some series reading. I have a bunch of series that I do plan on, like I made a list of a whole bunch of series that I want to make progress on this year. I didn't do a video about it because I made it at a time in which I wasn't doing videos, but anyway, so here are some that I'm working on. So I'm continuing to read I was going to say the Chronicles of Narnia. That is so not anywhere near All Creatures Great and Small. All Creatures Great and Small. I'm already reading Vet in Harness. This is the 4th book by James Herriot. I started this in May after I finished the 3rd book. Shocking. Yes, I started a new title in during the currently reading challenge. Anyway, I need to finish this by the end of June because I want to listen to the audiobook for the first book in July. It's convoluted. It's part of my currently reading. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Vet in Harness is the one that I am currently reading. I've only just started it. I'm about 70 pages in. And yeah, it's a nonfiction memoir following a vet in 1930s-ish, I think. England, really great, just really enjoy it, and continuing to read that. On a very different note, I am also reading the Warcraft series. So the book I'm reading now is Lord of the Clans. This one's by Christy Golden, and this one follows Thrall, who is one of the characters on the Horde side of things. And I read the first book in this, which is Day of the Dragon, in May. And that was a reread. I was actually testing to see if I could read a fantasy novel within 1 month start to finish, and I was able to do it, so I'm really happy about that. This one's actually shorter. It's only 300 pages. I have started it. I'm not loving it, to be honest, but it's a little early to tell. I really like the Horde characters. Like, I really like Horde, but in the books, they very much... much more feels like Alliance versus Horde is good versus evil. And that feels really weird because in the game you can play either side. And I like playing Horde all the time and I don't feel like they're evil. I don't know. Anyway, in this, actually, I will say, so far from this one, the alliances, it looks like they're evil from what I've read. Not all of them, not everyone in its entirety, which is always the case, which is always the truth. So anyway, but this is one of the series that I'm working on, so I will be continuing to read Lord of the Clans. I started it early because I'm just breaking all of the rules. Also a series I'm working on is a contemporary romance series, and the next one is A Fake Girlfriend for Chinese New Year by Jackie Lau. This is the Holidays with the Wong series. This is the third book in the series, and I have been reading this one and really enjoying it. It is contemporary novellas, and they're sort of like rom-coms. I finished up the second book, which I can never remember the whole title because it's like a second chance Christmas road trip, a second chance road trip for Christmas. I don't know. It was really cute and but also steamy. So yeah, these are great, and they're also set sort of in Toronto. Like the characters live in Toronto, but they grew up outside Toronto. So I am just loving the series. So I'm looking forward to reading the third title in that one. So those are the series title. My random pick that I've decided to read, I haven't started yet, but I hopefully will soon, and that is The Curse, or Nancy Drew, The Curse by McCall Oslow, and this is a little hard to tell. It is a prequel to the CW show. So the CW version of Nancy Drew has some paranormal vibes to it. I watched the season 2 premiere and was like, this looks so cool. But I've never gotten back to this series. And so I thought if I read the book, that might inspire me to get back to watching the series because it is on Prime here. And I really want to watch it. And I talked about it with my sister Susie on our Hex reunion on her podcast. And I was like, yeah, why haven't I been watching this? It was like, the episode I watched was awesome. There was an accessibility issue. I watched season 2 live. I didn't have access to season 1. And now I just haven't come back to it. So I thought maybe if I read the book, it'll inspire me to be more centered in the story and the characters or whatever. And yeah, so that's my random pick of the month. It's also not that long. I think it's between 200 and 300 pages. So hopefully I will get to that. Now onto the titles that I am currently reading, that I'm going to work on. I have a couple I want to finish and a couple I want to continue on. Of the ones that I want to finish, this one, I gotta admit, I was so sad it didn't show up in the currently reading challenge, and that's The Diary of Anais Nin, 1931 to 1934. 4 weeks of nonfiction picks, and there weren't tons of nonfiction picks, and this never came up. Never. It came up so many times both last year and last fall, so maybe that was enough. Anyway, I only have about 50 pages left. I really think it's gonna happen. And I started this back in like 2019, so it's gonna feel really good to finish this. And it's a nonfiction memoir by the author Anais Nin. Also plan on finishing The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury. This is a book that I started this year. It's a collection of short stories, actually, that I started earlier this year. I think I only have about 3 or 4 left to go. It's speculative fiction. Ray Bradbury is an author that I really, really like. In this one, he had some stuff that I wasn't as much of a fan of. I think in most of the things I have read by him, there has been no gender stuff, like gender issues, and this one had a lot of sort of old school gender role stuff, and I was disappointed in that because so far I hadn't read anything that had that. I don't think there was anything that felt outright sexist or anything like that, but it was just, the people who were doing things were men. The people who were at home were women. And I was just like, oh. But I think mostly in the stories I had read so far, they were just mostly about male characters, but there weren't any women. So that's also not great. But anyway, I don't feel like, now I feel like I'm tripping up a little bit on that. I'm not saying there is sexist stuff in there. It's just outdated, and I'm just disappointed now to notice it, because I really consider that I really like a lot of his work, and I just wish that there was more inclusion. But, this is from, actually, I don't know when this is from, the 60s? It feels like the 60s. Yeah, so anyway, I hope to finish that one. I do plan on reading more of his work in terms of the speculative fiction elements. I mean, it's really interesting and engaging stuff. I also plan on finishing Battle Royale. I have about 150-ish pages of this left, not even 130. It came up twice during the Currently Reading Challenge. I really think I can make a go for it. In terms of, there's a couple of my Currently Reading titles that I want to make progress on, and that includes Toad Words by T. Kingfisher. This is a collection of short stories that's sort of like reframing fairy tales and stuff like that. Like there was a Red Riding Hood one that was really interesting, and I think the next one I need to read is one about Bluebeard's wife. So I'm really curious about that, and I really like the reframing in this a lot. So far this has been a win, and looking forward to just continuing that. I don't need to finish it. I'm also, of course, continuing Les Miserables. My goal is 25 pages a week to finish by the end of the year. Wish me luck. I do also need to do 10 alphabets from Outline Alphabets a month to finish by the end of the year. Wish me luck on that. I think my next ones are the G's. And I also am going to be reading 100 pages from Tess of the Dubervilles by Thomas Hardy. This one I am splitting over the months of the rest of the year. I'm hoping to read 100 pages a month to finish by the end of the year. And then the other older novels on my Currently Reading, I need to read 200 pages from any of them by the end of the year, excluding Les Mis. So it could be more of Tess, or it could be just anything that's been on my TBR since longer than this year. I've done the math to sort of figure out how I can finish all of those titles, because that's my goal. Anything I brought with me from last year into this year, so anything I started in 2021 or earlier, I want to finish by the end of 2022. I don't anticipate finishing the year with 0 on my Currently Reading. That's not realistic. That's not actually a goal of mine. I don't need that. It doesn't motivate me, but I really have been working so hard on my Currently Reading, especially the older titles, and I've reframed sort of what I start now to be shorter works, that I think with working both of those sides at the same time, I'm going to be getting to a better place in terms of being able to start things I can finish in a reasonable amount of time, and not being carrying over so many weighty stuff. Like this is 600 pages. This is 1,300 pages. I'm not starting things that are this long anymore. I'm just not going to do it. I will probably next year pick one really long book to read and that be it. So we'll see. I don't know. It's a work in progress. This is going to be the first month that I test out this idea. And basically it's about 100 pages a week from the older works. So I had 200 pages left, 100 pages from Tess of the Dubervilles, and then there's, because of how the weeks work in this month, I have 2 more weeks, so I need 200 pages from other works. So it can be 2 different books, it can be the same book, but I'm aiming for 100 pages a week of any of the older novels on the list. The nonfiction's all sort of, exceptions to the rule. And Diary of Aeneas Nin, I'm just going to gun it. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to really, really try and finish it. I'm really close. I kind of thought like last year, I wasn't sure I was ever going to get here. And it has taken a year. Now, I haven't been reading it like every single week, but I've been reading it a fair amount. So the end is in sight for that title. But I am also going to the library, and that might just throw everything out the window. It might throw all of these plans out the window, with the exception of my Buddy Reads, which of course I'm committed to. But I don't know. We'll see how things go. This is a new idea. This 100 pages a week is a bit of a new idea. So I'll see. I think I might have tried it in April. But we'll see. If I can stick to it, I can finish everything by the end of the year from the older works. So fingers crossed that happens. There you go. There is my long, rambly TBR for June and my reading plans. Let me know what you are planning on reading in June. Are you going to your library? I am really looking forward to it. And are you participating in the Manga Pride Readathon? I'm looking forward to seeing people's TBRs for that. And yeah, so here is to a great month of reading ahead. Thank you so much for watching.